And we're back for game number 2. Let's fast forward a little bit. So in this game, wait, are there only? Oh, there's actually only 2 games. For some reason, I thought it was a best of 5, and it was a 3-0 score. Gosh, I'm getting tired. All right, so this is actually just game 2. So it actually works really nicely, splitting up into 2 different or 1 game per video. That's nice. So this game. BByong ends up opening up for a Marine Widowmine aggression in the early game. Zest is going to be opening up with his famous Blink Stalker Zest build, where you don't go all in and you instead transition out of it by getting the robotics facility, getting an early third base. You can do Warp Prism follow up to it. There's a lot of ways to follow up with it. BByong, on the other hand, his opener is not a Reaper opener actually. I believe it's a 15 gas opener. That's one of the most common ways to follow up doing a factory play, or to the prerequisite for factory play. One of the most common ones is to do 15 gas play. Tasia, I believe, made this very popular. Oh, now we can do this. Since nothing is really happening, neither player is even scouting. Oh, there we go. BByong's starting to scout about now. And Zest is going for the standard Mothership Core expand. He cancels the Zealot this time. Last time the Zealot was created and it was used to scout his opponent. This time the Zealot is cancelled and the Nexus goes down a little bit faster because of that 100 extra minerals. And what Zest ends up doing is scouting with his Mothership Core to the natural base. Because of the close proximity between the naturals, the airspace, the Mothership Core can safely poke next to the natural and then get back in time to defend against different kinds of Reaper aggression, or different kinds of aggression, not just Reapers. The Stalker will be out in time to shoo the Reaper away. This SCV scout is just very, very troll. I just not being seen like that. Just extremely lucky. I believe BByong ended up scouting the pylon, and then he just ended up sitting right outside of the range of it, so that Zest thought that the SCV left, but it really didn't. It was in that one spot where you don't have any vision in your main base. So BByong is able to see this Twilight Council going down. So he now knows that's either a Blink all-in, it's DTs, or it's macro Blink. I guess I can slow it down now. The boring part has gone by. And it is in fact macro Blink play. BByong is still going to be doing this Widowmine aggression. And as a result, Zest is not going to be able to apply any pressure with the Blink Stalkers. Instead, he has to use them defensively, keep them at home so that he doesn't take any damage. And I really think, like, again, this video, these games were played quite a while ago. Looking back at it, if either of the players were to do that, they would see themselves as like very newbie compared to where they are now. That's just what happens in StarCraft. If you practice a lot, you can see substantial amounts of improvement, but it's not a day-to-day thing. It's more of a month-to-month thing. Is where you can see how much you've gauge accurately about how much you've actually improved. BByong going for this double-pronged aggression, I don't quite agree with it. It's a bit greedy because he does not know if Zest is going for a 2-base Blink all-in or not. If he was, these Marines would have died for free. The medevac probably wouldn't have done very much damage, and the follow-up would have killed BByong. But instead, BByong is able to scout the double gas at the natural, or at least one of them being taken. So he knows it's not going to be a Blink all-in. There's actually builds where you do a Blink all-in off of 3 gas, but it hits at a kind of a later time. Either way, he has in his head he has confirmed he has checked off different all-ins, and he knows that it's going to be a macro-based play. So he's getting at the third base at a relatively fast time in this game. Zest choosing to do the same, and he has these two medevacs, actually three medevacs, and he's going to be doing this kind of double pronged aggression here. Nice scan from BByong going off, able to kill that observer. That Widow Mine did way more damage than it had to. If Zest just pulled away his probes, he would have been fine. In this game, we actually see, I think, very uncharacteristically sloppy play by Zest. These extra medevac drops are going to do a lot more damage than they should, I think. See that Widow Mine burrowing, and Zest ends up losing another 4 probes to it when all he had to do was lose 1. If you look at games played for the SC2 SL qualifiers, players like Hero, I believe he played against BByong. Oh my god. He played against BByong, the same sort of Widow Mine drop style, and the Widow Mines only got 1 kill, and that was because Hero ended up sacrificing 1 probe to detonate the Widow Mines. And that's all they got. But these Widow Mines have killed about, I would say, about like 15 to 20 probes at this point. Some important things to note here is that Zest is only on 3 gateways. He can only warp in 3 units at a time. It's a similar situation to last game where this third base, he doesn't really have the units necessary to defend it. He has a very formidable Blink Stalker force. He's going across the map to try to do some aggression right now. He knows that BByong's lost a couple medevacs, so the medevac aggression isn't going to be as fast as it normally would. But simply warping in 3 units at a time is not very scary to a Terran player on 5 barracks. Even this army, Zest really wants to do some counter aggression. We see here him trying to pick some units off with these stalkers, not really getting too much done. Those zealots that got warped in did very little damage, and that was his entire production round for like 40 seconds because he's only on 3 warp gates right now. I think that's the most important reason why Zest ends up losing, is because he's only on 3 gateways. And he has a lot of money too. He's also uncharacteristically heavily supply blocked at a very important time when he would like the Colossus to be starting. And his Blink Stalkers are also way out of position as well. He's trying to do some counter aggression, but at home, all he has are 3 cannons starting, well, 4 on the production tab. He's warped in another 3 Stalkers, so he has 3 Stalkers at home, he has 1 Colossi producing, and he has a crap ton of cannons going down. And still, as we see here, only 3 warp gates. He really needed to add some extra gateways a while ago. This Blink Stalker pressure is very cute, doing a little bit of damage to get him back into the game, but getting cleaned up way too easily to justify it. Basically, all the units that popped out of the barracks were enough to clean up the Blink Stalkers. And so the reason why this multi-pronged aggression we see at the main and the third is working for BByong is because more than half of Zest's army is out of freaking position. It's all right here. That's more than half his army because all he has is a Colossi at home and 3 Stalkers. And he's only on 3 warp gates, so he can only warp in another 3 Stalkers, 3 Zealots, or 3 Sentries, which is by no means enough to stop a drop like this. If he was able to warp in 6 Zealots, that would have been a lot easier to stop this drop. It definitely would have forced BByong to pick up and leave. But as a result, we see these very puny warp in rounds, and this drop at the third base is uncontested. Zest cannot move away his army from the main base because he just simply doesn't have enough units to deal with this army. And he can't split up his army. That 1 Zealot being warped in. He's also supply blocked again. But even if he wasn't, he'd only be able to warp in 2 extra Zealots, which isn't nearly enough to stop that kind of a push. And that push, which shouldn't have killed the third, ends up killing the third, all because Zest was way out of position. We see here Zest is also floating a very, very crazy amount of money, especially for being only on 2 bases. I think he was very nervous this game. Some environmental issues weren't to his liking, because this is very uncharacteristic of a GSL champion floating 1k 1k on 2 bases, and these very slow reaction times to the Widow Mines also suggest that he wasn't playing his very best today either. The Widow Mines doing way more damage than ever imaginable, really. And at this point, BByong is again in a similar position that he was in Game 1. He's up 50 supply again. He has a very formidable army. Zest does not have a third base yet again. And he's just in a world of hurt. Again, he wants to turtle up to 200 to maybe have a chance of getting back into the game. BByong, though, he's taking his 4th base as Zest is taking his 3rd. And he's setting up for multiple pronged attacks again. And the reason why this is being so successful again is because Zest simply doesn't have a very big army / production to really stop this from doing a lot of damage. Like, we just saw there, 3 Zealots warp in. That's not going to stop a 4 medevac drop at all. He has no more warp-ins for this 3rd base, and his army isn't big enough to split up to stop these kinds of drops from doing a lot of damage. As we see here, Zest tries to split up his army. The Nexus goes down, the Colossus goes down that he split up, and only 3 Zealots are warped in again, which is very little to nothing. And here comes that medevac drop again. It's really, I guess, there's nothing really else. There's no other way to sugarcoat it except that Zest was playing very, very poorly throughout this entire series, really. That's probably one of the biggest factors to why this is being so successful, just these very late reaction timings, and not handling these drops as efficiently as he should. That just, even dropping on top of the army, BByong is so far ahead, and Zest doesn't really, he can't really react to it. He loses all of his units in the main base, and there's still 2 Marauders left. That was like 10 Stalkers that he lost right there. And again, he's only warping in 3 units. I don't think he realizes that he's on only 3 warp gates right now. Otherwise, he would have put down a lot of warp gates a long time ago. And yeah, GG is called. There's no hype to be built. It's just kind of downhill from there. So yeah, kind of a very quick series, very straightforward. Hopefully that answered hopefully that was a good analysis as it could have been. Not showing very fast reflexes kind of is a big deal to taking a lot of damage for drops. You generally want to move away your stuff as fast as possible. You want to have your units in position. You also want to have more than 3 gateways going 15 minutes into the game. That's pretty important. Yeah, kind of rip Zest. It was good play by BByong. I'm not trying to take away anything from him, but I just think that the game could have been a lot less one-sided if Zest had come to perform in that series, which he didn't. So that pretty much wraps up this video analysis between Zest and BByong. And again, if you guys have any videos that you want me to go over, or games that you want me to review, then just leave a link. PM me on Reddit, PM me on Team Liquid, leave a link in the YouTube or the Team Liquid page or wherever basically, and I'll get to it as soon as possible. Peace out.